Okay, no, where are you gonna go? You both can't be on my lap. You wanna say hi, Lilibelle? Say hi. Okay, off please. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California channel. My name is Leslie. I'm a knitter, crocheter, spinner, pattern designer, and yarn enthusiast in Southern California, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I have, for some reason, I don't know why, been obsessed with the idea of knitting something in colorwork. So in today's video, we're going to talk about all of my inspiration and all of my current ideas about what I want to potentially knit in colorwork. Like I said, I don't really know where this idea has come from. I feel like I got back from the Irish knitting tour a couple weeks ago and my brain just felt like open to ideas. I had been knitting a pair of socks and now I'm like really into sock knitting, and the other piece of it like is this colorwork piece. I have knit one colorwork sweater a couple years ago. It was actually a steeked cardigan and I felt like I just didn't do a very good job with it. For some reason I decided to like go up a lot of needle sizes for a fingering weight yarn that I didn't need to do. The whole piece ended up being a little bit too big for me, and the colorwork itself was just sloppy. I felt like I was overcompensating because I was so worried about being too tight and having tension issues, and it was just like overall not my best piece. But like I said, I've been so interested recently in wanting to cast on something else in colorwork. I think my brain was just like before I left for the Ireland trip in the beginning of October, I was very focused on like, okay, I need to finish this garment. I need to finish this garment, and I was working on actually this design that I'm currently wearing right now. And by the time I got back from Ireland, like all of that was off my plate and my brain was just like open. Like I literally got back and I was like, what do I want to cast on? Like I can cast on anything right now. And that's just a great place to be for inspiration. And inspiration has struck. So I have made a list. Can you see this side is my colorwork list. This side is all my thoughts on socks. Because as I've been knitting socks, I have had a lot of thoughts and feelings about being a beginner sock knitter, so a video on that might be coming sooner rather than later also. But today we're going to talk about colorwork. And I'm going to walk you through, it's kind of going to be like a mini pattern roundup because I have a lot of patterns in my mind that I want to knit in colorwork. How many times do I need to say it? So that's what we're gonna do. These are all of the patterns and the ideas that are inspiring me currently, and I would love to cast on at least one. Let's start with one, okay? And I do have a thought as to which one will likely be first, and we'll get to that at the end of the video, okay? So the first thing, when I got home from my trip, I had this in the mail. This is the Doodle Knit Directory by Jamie Lomax. She's at Pacific Knit Co. on Instagram. I have been following along with like all of the doodle decks and all of that kind of from afar on Instagram. I've never really until now been interested in knitting of this type, like colorwork, following doodles and stuff, but on a whim I purchased this book because I felt like it was just like a really cool book to have in my library. And as I've been reading through this, like this is actually like a really interesting book. First of all, I did buy a signed copy. It did also come with a really cute tote bag and a sticker and like some extra doodles on cards. But the really cool thing about this, I think, are the like basic patterns. There's also a lot of info in here on like choosing yarns and choosing different colors, info on like designing your own charts, modifying patterns to be better for color work. Of course, there are tips for color work as well, which I'm definitely gonna need to like just read through that again. But I think probably the coolest part in here, at least that I think is like the coolest part, are the pattern recipes. So there's 2 different types of cowls. The like regular doodle cowl, the infinity doodle cowl, a doodle scarf, a doodle hat, a doodle headband, doodle mittens, doodle fingerless mitts, and doodle socks in both DK and fingering. And that's it. But basically it's like a generalized pattern, so you know how many stitches, how many rows, etc. And then you can customize it based on the doodle charts that you want on your knit. And I don't know, to me this just seems like a really, really ingenious and very cool and very new idea, and I love it so much. So this has really been inspiring me. And one of the things that I would like to kind of take from this book and like combine with actually my own pattern, the Knit e-reader cozy, I really have this idea. I have this idea that I really want to do, which is like a knit e-reader cozy for my iPad. So it's a little bit bigger, and it's broken out into colorwork sections for each Taylor Swift era. Did you know where this was going? Of course it's going to be Taylor Swift themed. And so I've actually been like reading through the doodle book and writing down like specific motifs that could work for each era. For example, for debut, there's a butterfly. Speak Now, there's fireworks. Red, there's a scarf. 1989, sunglasses. Reputation, a snake. Lover, hearts. Folklore, there's a cabin motif in here, which is so perfect. Evermore, some autumn vines, like for ivy. Midnights, there's a moon and stars. And, well, Tortured Poets Department, I actually think I'm going to go with a different one that I found online. But that's kind of like what I'm thinking I want to do with this. Like a lot of those doodles are in here. I can use like my own pattern and just kind of like modify it if I need to. Stitch count or row count. I think it also, if I use fingering weight instead of like a DK weight that the pattern is written for, I can just get more motifs in there. And I just think it would be really cool. So that's one of my ideas, using the Doodle Knit Directory by Jamie Lomax. Okay, the next pattern that I'm really inspired to make, and this is a pattern that is not released yet. I do think it's going to be coming relatively soon, but it's the, whoops, where we go, hold on. This is the Maxine Pullover by Laura Penrose. I believe it's currently in testing. I think it's almost out of testing, but I've been watching Laura's videos. I'm part of Laura's Patreon, and so I've kind of just been following along through the whole design process of this knit. And now that I'm like really interested in color work and I keep seeing this sweater pop up, I'm like really, really interested and intrigued, and I want to knit it. It's got these like almost quilt-like star motifs across the yoke. It's a round yoke sweater. I believe there would be options to modify the neckband, so it's just like a double folded collar. I would not do the full turtleneck, but I think it's really cute, and like this could be a really nice like reintroduction to a colorwork sweater. Okay, the next idea that I have is actually what I think I will probably cast on first. And this is one of the first ideas that came to me because I want to make a cowl for my Scotland trip that's coming up next year in May. And my friend Annabeth just released in September these colorwork socks called Beneath the Waves. And it's basically like a Loch Ness Monster colorwork sock. And I'm not quite sure if I'm ready for colorwork socks yet. I feel like I still need to just focus on perfecting my like regular sock knitting first. But okay, tell me if this is a cool idea or not, because this is what I've been dreaming about, is taking this colorwork motif with the little Loch Ness Monster and combining it with the Infinity Cowl doodle base pattern from the Doodle Knit directory. So it's like an infinity cowl with alternating Loch Ness Monster and wave colorwork charts. And the yarn that I would use for this, because I've already picked it out, I have a whole pile of yarn just like right here, by the way. And the yarn that I would use for this is this. I was just really inspired by Annabeth's colors for her socks. It's a light blue with like a dark green for the color work. And so, yeah, I went digging through my stash and through my yarn bag of yarn that I like potentially want to destash, and I was like, oh, these work really nicely together. So this blue is a DK weight yarn that was actually specially dyed for me by Flower Garden Yarns. I have a whole sweater quantity of it, but I think I could spare one skein. And then this green is actually from the Sorella Yarns Winter Tonals. This is Alpine. And this is also in a DK weight base. And so I think a DK weight, like infinity cowl with Loch Ness Monsters and waves on it would just be so cute and so perfect, especially when we're in Scotland and we're on a tour of Loch Ness. I mean, come on. How like more perfect could that be? So this is kind of my, I think this is going to be like my intro color work project that I really want to cast on very, very soon. So let me know. Good? Yay? Nay? I think yay. Okay, next on my list. Oh, okay. I have been seeing this sweater all over my Instagram, and it's called the Flower Power Pullover by Lindsay Dagen, D-E-G-E-N, Dagen. And at first, when I first saw this, I was like, am I actually interested in knitting this? But then I saw a couple people's different versions of this, and now I am like, this is a need. It's an absolute need. First of all, I saw this one from Brook Willow, and I feel like the sweater just looks way better like on a body compared to the Ravelry photo where it's just kind of like a blob with a white background. I just don't think that's like a super flattering photo. So that was the first one I saw, was the Brook Willow one, and I was like, oh, this is cute. Then I saw this one that Katrin Seeberger made, and it's like two-tone. The top section of the main color is like a creamy white yarn, and the bottom section of the main color is the brown. So it's like two-toned. Anyways, I think you get a good idea of what this looks like with the two tones, and I just thought this was really, really cool. So that's like kind of on my radar. But then I saw Lou Dangit knit one and steek it, and this just like blew my mind, and I think it's so cute steeked as a cardigan. And I think if I were to knit this pattern, it would need to be a steeked version into a cardigan because it's so cute. Also, just like side note, I'm obsessed with Lou Dangit. All of her videos are like so funny and so engaging, and yeah, I love watching all of her reels. It's so cute. It's so cute. Anyways, so that's what I need. It's a need, okay? Is this Flower Power cardigan. Oh, Flower Power sweater. Flower Power pullover turned into a steeped cardigan. Okay, I don't have yarn or anything for that. Just like I don't really have any yarn picked out right now for the Maxine pullover. Who knows if these things will actually happen, but like they're in my head. Okay, next, the Tessellated Pullover by Andrea Mowry. I actually do have yarn for this. You haven't seen it yet because it's gonna be in my like show and tell haul. You know what? Scratch that. You have seen this. If you watched the first episode, nope, the second episode of my Ireland knitting tour recap videos where I actually go to Ireland, you will have seen this yarn. But I picked out yarn when I was at This Is Knit, a yarn store in Dublin, for the Tessellated Pullover. And it's all of these purples, and I think it would be really cute. This is a mosaic knitting pattern, so a little bit different than the stranded colorwork. I don't think my inspiration is telling me like I need to knit stranded colorwork versus mosaic colorwork. I think my inspiration is really just telling me I need to start knitting with like a lot of colors at one time. That's really where I think this is coming from. Okay, so I have yarn for this. My thought is to kind of cast this on as like maybe my New Year's cast on, and start it going forward into the new year, but who knows, like maybe I'll just get the inspiration to cast it on now. I really liked this pattern when it came out, and I chose this as the pattern to pick yarn for on my trip because it used 3 different types of yarn, and I thought that would just be really fun to shop for and like get multiple types of yarn while I was on a trip. So did that. Okay, the next one is the Stowaway by Woolen Pine. Specifically the version where just the sleeves are done in colorwork. I think this is so cute. It's this one, like the beige cream main color with the multicolor sleeves. I just think this is really, really cute. It just looks like a very classic like sweater pattern, but then with just the sleeves as colorwork, it feels different. It feels new. It's like inspired, and it has inspired me. So that is one of my inspo patterns here. Rocky, you need to come up again? Okay. Yeah, I know. Okay, the Colorwork Cuff Club Socks by Summerlee Knits. I have also been very inspired by those. I have not joined the Colorwork Cuff Club. Again, I feel like I'm not quite ready yet for Colorwork socks. But I'm highly considering joining the Colorwork Cuff Club. Rocky, you're okay. Rocky just jumped onto my lap, and now you can't see him, but he's right here. And he likes to groan a lot, so you may hear him. Anyways, I think the Colorwork Cuff Club socks are all very, very cute, and I want them. Okay? I got two last patterns to talk about. One of them I have a kit for, and this is the PDX Doodle Cowl. So another doodle pattern actually, and I picked this one up during the Rose City Yarn Crawl in Portland back in March. This was one of the cowls and the sets that Jamie Lomax, Pacific Knit Co., the doodle book lady, Rocky, put together for the Portland Rose City Yarn Crawl. And the yarn is by Yarnaceous Fibers and Fangirl Fibers. But you can see like these are exactly the colors of the Portland Airport carpet. And that would end up being a gift for a friend. I'm laughing because the person that it would be a gift for is probably watching this. Anyways, okay, so that's the second to last pattern. The last pattern that I have yarn for that I have been inspired by and that I would want to knit is the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan by Katrin Seeberger. And I think I've shown you this massive pile of yarn before, but the yarn that I would want to use for this is my Sorella yarn Autumn Tonals. I just think this would be so cute and so perfect for the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. And I already have the yarn. It just sits in my stash in rainbow order in a line. And I look at it often and I'm like, I should really cast that on because it would be really fun to knit with all those colors. And I do think I have more colors than I actually would need for the cardigan, but I could play around, you know, with like different color combinations, and I just think it would be really fun. So this one would take a little bit more work, and I think I would learn a lot because I would need to learn colorwork flat and like knitting purling colorwork, which I did not do on my previous one. So I don't think that'll be like the first one that I cast on, but it is something that I want to cast on in the future. Okay, so that's it. Those are all the patterns that I'm like really inspired by and want to knit like right this very second. I appreciate having this conversation with you. I felt like I have just needed to like get this out and like talk about it because it's just been sitting in my brain for the last couple of weeks, festering, growing, but I'm really intrigued and I think I really want to and need to, and I'm going to cast on this cowl first, the Beneath the Waves Loch Ness cowl, and because I want to get that done before like May of next year, so if I just do it now it'll be ready to go. And I'm sure some sort of sweater will pop onto the needles that I'll want to get done before then also. And if this is already done and out of the way, then it leaves room for whatever that's going to be. So, okay, do you have any tips or anything for me in regards to colorwork knitting? Do you have any other suggestions for patterns maybe I should look into? I feel like you got a good sense of like kind of the different areas that my mind is going in. A lot of these doodles, cowls, but also sweaters. Kind of a lot going on, all different types of color work actually, from stranded to mosaic, just the sleeves, you know, a round yoke, the patchwork quilt cardigan, steeking. My brain really is all over the place with this. But it's been really fun, like I said, to chat through all of it, kind of get my thoughts in order, show you some of the yarn that I do have in my stash that would work for some of these projects. But yeah, let me know also what you think I should cast on maybe second after the cowl, or if you think one of these projects I should cast on before the cowl, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I'm on a journey to 10K subscribers and it really means a lot to me. That's all I have. Thank you again for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye!